Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS with the second part of my quest to support Singapore. I hope people out there, especially from Singapore and those who are fans of Singapore, supporters of Singapore, possibly those from the diaspora or those who, for whatever reason, love the country like I do, will enjoy these videos. I'm a bit wary that people out there don't enjoy my videos, but I know I've not been really doing very well. I lost like 3 subscribers already this weekend. Poor me, I suppose. But yeah, I know, a pity party or whatever they say. But I'm supposed to be a violin or whatever. But I hope that I get loads of subscribers on my birthday, which is on the 29th. I'm not really into celebrating birthdays, but I probably would if I got loads of subscribers. But yeah, that's probably one of the few things I'd really want for my birthday. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling, but I thought I'd try and do something different as I normally try and do, but because I'm a creature of habit, I do struggle. But I thought what I'd try and do is ask any Singaporeans out there who might be watching this video, hopefully. First of all, I'd like to ask, before I start on the list, or continue on with the list, if you know any Singaporeans, either who live in Singapore or those who live in Singapore as citizens generally, those who are of Singaporean ancestry all around the world, or those who just have a soft spot for Singapore, those who have been to Singapore and love the nation or country, whichever term for, to check out these videos, and hopefully at least some of them will enjoy it, as many of them as possible. But yeah, so I'd love to ask some questions to people from Singapore or those who love the nation. And here goes. So as I'm continuing on from part 1, so in that I include ideas from 1 to 10. So in this one I hope to include ideas from number 11 to 20, but I'm going to try and phrase it as questions rather than just me waffling away with my own strange ideas. So here goes. So number 11, what do you think Singapore could do to change, to improve, if anything? What are some things that you think, if you're honest, that you think Singapore could do? Either this question, I suppose, could be, or any of these questions could be directed, I'll say, to those who live in Singapore, either those who are born there or who have immigrated there of different backgrounds, or expats or whatever they call them, or whatever. Also, or tourists, or anyone, whoever's visited nation before or is visiting now. What sort of things do you think could be done to improve it even more? Number 12, what sort of things do you think it does well? And if you're Singaporean, what makes you proud of being a Singaporean? Hopefully not in an arrogant way, but in a way where you can be sort of proud of your roots and say things that you think Singapore does. I've read and seen a lot from from the YouTube videos on Singapore. A lot of people who said that there's a lot of amazing things they've done in terms of designing the country, nation, country, whichever term you prefer to use, in such a way. It's an amazing design, and it's very clean, and lots of other great things have been said about it. So I'd love to hear what, especially Singaporeans, what makes you proud of the nation. I suppose that's specifically for people from either who live in Singapore or who are from Singapore or feel a connection to the nation, like what makes you proud to have Singaporean roots, for instance, or whatnot. And as ever, I'd love to also, I suppose, how can I phrase that as a question? Do you have any facts or figures or stats that you could share about Singapore that I or others watching these videos hopefully might not know, which we might find interesting, I myself or them might find interesting? Number 13, what do you think are some negative things about Singapore? I suppose that's a bit like number 11, but I know I normally try to include a negative one for 13, or a selfish one. I suppose a selfish question probably would be, what do you think of Italian football? As a bias, I'd love to hear what Singaporeans think, and how do you think Italian football could be promoted? I hope I don't jinx it by including it in number 13, which I see as unlucky, but I also see it as like a selfish kind of number. But yeah, so I'd love to know, what do you think could make more Singaporeans fall in love with Italian football, Serie A, or even the national team, or preferably both? Number 14, what do you think the world could learn from Singapore about, say, solving problems? Also, again, do you think there are any problems that Singapore has that it might need to solve? Maybe more liberal or libertarian rules, perhaps, for instance, and that kind of thing. Number 15, what are your ambitions as a Singaporean? If any Singaporeans watch this, I'd love to know that, and or even, as I say, those who are from the diaspora around the world, what would you like to see Singapore achieve maybe one day I hope that I can work with politicians from Singapore and see what they want to achieve. And I'd love to read and work with, read and talk to and discuss and hear. Although I don't read much, but what Singaporeans want as ambitions, as both individuals and as a nation. Number 16, what do you think are the best ways the nation could benefit? And once again, I know that Singapore has many great things about it, but are there things where you think the nation shouldn't be, say, complacent with potential risks of invasion or terrorism or other such threats, cybercrime, or any other sort of crime or things that could go wrong? How do you think the nation could protect itself? As I mentioned before, I'd love for them to work with Malaysia, India, South Africa, and Indonesia, as well as each other. So hopefully by working together, they can pass on information and knowledge to each other, and have cyber prevention, cyber security, I suppose is the right word, cyber, or two words, but yeah, cyber security to prevent potential risks to each other's nations, including obviously Singapore. Number 17, what do you think Singapore creates or does really well that perhaps maybe creates better than any other nation? As I say, many people say it's probably the best designed nation in the world, and some say, I've even read a comment saying, or a YouTube title saying, there'll never be another Singapore. So I wonder what, if anything, you think Singapore does probably better than any other nation, maybe even what other nations should try and copy and emulate, and at least try and do their best to work on. I suppose there are some advantages in being a small nation as well, which Singapore might have that, say, India or other nations, even China or America, might not have, for instance. But yeah, I'd love to know any of those. Number 18, yeah, I'd love to know reasons to why you are proud to be Singaporean. If you have a few to share, as many as you would like, in the comment section, I welcome those. And again, what you think Singapore does well, and things that might make you proud, like it could be the racial integration that the nation has, which is probably better than any other nation, maybe. Again, I hope it won't be too complacent, because things could go wrong, but hopefully they won't, of course. But things like that, maybe, or things that Singapore invents or creates, and things like that, and what sort of problems they solve, and things like that. I'd love to know about that kind of thing. Number 19, do you think Singapore should be part of this network, working with Malaysia, India, Indonesia, and South Africa? And what do you think of those other nations, dare I ask? Hopefully there won't be too many negative or hateful comments, but as I often say, I welcome all comments. So I'd love to know what Singaporeans think of Malaysians, Indonesians, and South Africans, and Malaysians, Indians, Indonesians, South Africans, and possibly other nations. If I was more organised, I'd do stuff like Asian Boss does, where I go and ask people. But I'd love to travel to nations like Singapore and ask them lots of opinions and things like that, and discuss ideas and thoughts with people there, and that sort of thing. Also, do you think Singapore should help African nations in terms of their software or general tech or even STEM development? Do you think Asian nations like Singapore should support them, possibly in return for trade deals, or do you think they should just do it out of generosity? Or what do you think Singapore could do to be known as a very generous nation? What do you think they could do more, perhaps, to support other nations and give more aid to them and things like that? Do you think if they do so, and if they do so, do you think they should want something in return? Number 20, I nearly forgot this one, but I was just thinking I'm going to have another one of those awkward moments where I forget what I was going to say. But what do you think of some ideas that I've mentioned, including, say, Singapore hosting some officially and some unofficially events, such as inviting YouTubers, social media influencers, content creators, poets, artists, writers, business people, and people from all walks of life, perhaps even, including those of Eurasian descent, part European and part Asian, especially those with Singaporean ancestry, or even people from the diaspora just generally as well. What sort of things and what sort of events do you think Singapore should have to encourage tourism, or what ways do you think Singapore could or should use and could use to support, encourage more tourism? And if they don't already do so, do you think it's a missed opportunity if they don't monetize their tourism YouTube channel, so they can have two streams of revenue from such, which one would be from the channel itself being monetized, selling ad space and whatnot, and the second one being obviously inviting those tourists, or vice versa perhaps. But yeah, I'd love to know what Singaporeans think, or any ideas you have, any suggestions or anything else. And I hope Singaporeans out there support my channel, especially on the 29th, which is my birthday, or towards the end of August, generally, like before September. Hopefully I'll get loads of subscribers and likes and views, I hope. Here's to hope. But anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm out. Peace and love.